Everyone on the cobbles is wrapped up in the shocking demise of Theo Silverton, and the drama is only getting started. If you thought the list of 6 major suspects was chaotic enough, wait until you hear what Weatherfield's most lovable mechanic is hiding. Tyrone Dobs is about to drop a massive, life-altering secret on his wife Fizz that could completely shatter the entire investigation. Theo might have been the ultimate villain, but his untimely passing is destroying more lives by the minute. Tyrone was just caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. Or was he? If you want to stay ahead of all the juiciest Weatherfield drama, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to CoronationST update, and turn on those notifications right now so you never miss a single upload. Your support means everything, and trust me, you will want to be seated for this tea. Now, let us dive deep into the tangled web surrounding Theo Silverton's dark and mysterious final night. It is no secret that Theo was far from Mr. Popular. In fact, he was the exact opposite. He was a master manipulator, leaving a trail of broken hearts and ruined lives wherever he walked. The authorities have narrowed down their investigation to 6 beloved residents, and honestly, every single one of them had a perfectly good reason to want this monster gone for good. Let us start with his long-suffering partner, Todd Grimshaw. For months, we watched in absolute horror as Todd was routinely bullied, controlled, and emotionally battered by Theo. When someone is pushed to the absolute brink, their survival instincts kick in, and it is not hard to imagine Todd finally snapping and deciding to permanently remove the threat from his life. But Todd is not the only one with a massive grudge. We also have Theo's scorned ex-wife, Danielle Silverton. We all know there is no fury like a woman scorned, and Danielle has been carrying around a mountain of resentment. Then there is George Shuttleworth. George has always been a fierce protector and a father figure to Todd. Watching his closest confidant be systematically destroyed by Theo would be enough to push any loyal friend to take matters into their own hands. Let us not forget Christina Boyd, his current girlfriend, who was slowly realizing exactly what kind of man she was dealing with. And of course, there is Gary Windass. Gary is a bad boy builder, who is certainly no stranger to dark deeds and hiding terrible secrets. He has been down this dark road before, and putting a stop to someone like Theo fits right into his complex moral code. Finally, we have Summer Spellman. Poor, sweet Summer. She has endured so much trauma, especially considering Theo's direct involvement in the tragic loss of her adoptive father, Billy. Summer had every motive to seek ultimate vengeance for the pain inflicted on her family. This group of 6 is already a powder keg waiting to explode. But the shockwaves of this incident are rippling much further than anyone anticipated. The tragedy unfolded on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion, Swala's beautiful wedding. Because of this, half the street was out and about, completely unaware that they were stepping right into the middle of a massive whodunit. People are starting to talk, and the whispers on the street are deafening. Ryan Connor just dropped a massive bombshell, revealing he actually spotted Danielle lurking around the cobbles on that exact same night. Meanwhile, tearaway teen Brody Michaelis found himself detained by the authorities after swiping Todd's phone. That phone went mysteriously missing during the critical window of time when Theo met his demise, raising huge questions about what evidence might be hidden on that device. But the biggest shock of all brings us back to the Dobs household. Tyrone, the sweet, dependable family man, has suddenly found himself dragged into this absolute nightmare. It all started when Summer was hauled into the station to answer the most critical question of the entire investigation. Where exactly was she when Theo took his final breath? Under immense pressure in that interrogation room, Summer frantically insisted that Theo was very much alive when she walked out of his flat that fateful evening. And to back up her story, she threw out a name no one expected. She claimed Tyrone Dobs saw her leaving and could provide her with an ironclad alibi. You would think Tyrone would immediately step up to save this young girl from facing completely false accusations. But when Detective Lisa Connor Swain came knocking on his door, looking to verify Summer's timeline, Tyrone did the unthinkable. He started acting incredibly nervous, shifting on his feet, refusing to make eye contact, and insisted that Summer must have been mistaken. He told the detective she must have seen someone else in the dark. Now, DS Lisa might have a lot on her plate and perhaps missed the subtle cues of his deception, but Fizz Dobs is not a fool. She knows her husband better than anyone in this world. She can spot his lies from a mile away. As soon as the detective left, Fizz immediately cornered him. She demanded to know why he was acting so suspiciously and asked him point blank for the truth. Tyrone stood his ground, putting on a brave face, and delivered a line that we all knew was total garbage. He looked his wife in the eye and claimed there was nothing to tell, saying he would never lie about something so serious. Oh, Ty, shame on you. The guilt was practically radiating off of him. The truth, as we soon found out through a jaw-dropping sequence of events, is far more complicated and dangerous than anyone could have guessed. Tyrone did see Summer that night. He saw her walking away from Theo's flat, and he knew for sure, an absolute fact, that Theo was alive and well at that exact moment. By keeping his mouth shut, Tyrone is essentially letting an innocent girl take the fall for a massive tragedy. So, what on earth could possibly compel a good man like Tyrone to withhold vital evidence? The answer is simple. He is hiding a monumental secret of his own, and coming forward to clear Summer's name would mean putting himself directly in the crosshairs of law enforcement. Tyrone's nightmare traces back to a name that makes everyone's blood boil: Carl Webster. We all know the deeply rooted hostility between Tyrone and Carl. Their rivalry is not just petty bickering, it is deeply personal and incredibly painful. Carl was the one responsible for the horrific vehicular incident that left poor Tyrone confined to a wheelchair, a traumatic period of his life that he has barely recovered from. The resentment has been simmering beneath the surface for ages. Tyrone has spent countless nights dreaming of payback, wondering what it would feel like to see Carl suffer the way he did. But dreaming of revenge and actually acting on it are two completely different things. Or so we thought. Let us rewind to the night of the wedding, the exact same night Theo lost his life. While everyone else was distracted, an incredibly intoxicated Carl Webster was busy plotting his own petty revenge. He was furious with his Uncle Kevin over some missing cash that Debbie had handed over, so Carl snuck into the Webster garage with a sinister plan to tamper with a vehicle. He wanted to cause a massive headache for Kevin, but his reckless actions set off a chain of events that would change everything. As Carl was deep under the car, actively sabotaging the mechanics, a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows. This unknown individual approached the vehicle mid-sabotage and caused the heavy machinery to come crashing down directly onto Carl, resulting in severe physical consequences. The worst, Webster was left, pinned in the dark. For weeks, viewers have been agonizing over who could have done this. Was it Tyrone finally taking his ultimate revenge? Did he intentionally drop that car to make Carl pay for putting him in a wheelchair? Did he throw sweet Summer right under the bus just to protect his own dark, dirty secret? The tension has been building to an absolute boiling point, and Tyrone's guilty conscience is eating him alive from the inside out. He is barely sleeping, barely eating, just completely consumed by the weight of what he has done. And things are about to get infinitely worse for him. Carl, who has been recovering from his severe injuries, suddenly starts getting extremely vivid flashbacks of that horrific night in the garage. He begins piecing the fragments together, realizing exactly where the incident took place, and that it was absolutely not an accident. Carl starts sniffing around, asking pointed questions, and making, it's very clear that he knows someone deliberately caused his pain. Tyrone is left absolutely terrified, shaking in his boots. The walls are closing in on him fast. On one side, he has Carl breathing down his neck, inches away from remembering his face. On the other side, he has the crushing guilt of watching Summer face life-destroying accusations for a tragedy she had nothing to do with, knowing he holds the key to her freedom. The pressure cooker finally explodes, driving Tyrone to do the only thing he can think of. He has to confess to the one person he trusts most in this world. He has to tell Fizz. In a highly emotional, deeply suspenseful confrontation, Tyrone completely breaks down. He sits Fizz down and admits the first horrible truth. He did see Summer on the night of Theo's demise. She is completely innocent, and he lied directly to the authorities just to save his own skin. Fizz is absolutely appalled. She cannot comprehend why her husband would let a young girl suffer like this. Tyrone frantically tries to explain that if he told the authorities the truth about his whereabouts, he would have to confess exactly what he was doing and what he witnessed that night. He tells Fizz that if he walks into that station, he is the one who will be locked away. Fizz is paralyzed with fear and confusion. She pushes him, her voice trembling, demanding to know what on earth the authorities could possibly hold against him. What could be worse than letting an innocent girl go down for this? Tyrone looks at her, tears in his eyes, and drops the ultimate bombshell. He tells her he would be facing accusations of intentionally trying to permanently end a life. The air leaves the room. Fizz is utterly speechless as Tyrone finally unburdens his soul, pouring out every agonizing detail of that fateful night. He explains how he was wandering around, trying to clear his head, when he heard noises coming from Kevin's garage. He walked in and found a highly intoxicated Carl, dangerously tampering with the brakes of Kevin's car. Knowing Carl's history of destruction, Tyrone immediately pulled out his phone. He wanted proof. He started recording the sabotage, planning to use the video as ultimate leverage to finally get Carl out of their lives for good. But then, tragedy struck. In his desperate attempt to get a better angle for the video, Tyrone took a step forward in the dimly lit garage. His foot caught on the heavy metal car jack supporting the massive vehicle. He accidentally kicked the support beam out of place. In a split second, the car plummeted to the concrete floor, violently crashing down on Carl. Tyrone froze in pure terror. He didn't intentionally cause the machinery to fall, but the optics were incredibly damning. Given their bitter history, given the fact that Carl put Tyrone in a wheelchair, who would ever believe this was just a clumsy accident? Panic completely took over his mind. Instead of calling for help, instead of trying to lift the car, Tyrone turned around and fled into the night, leaving Carl trapped and severely injured. He has been living with that horrific secret every single day since. And now, that split-second decision of cowardice has tangled him up in the biggest tragedy Weatherfield has seen in years. Fizz is left staring at her husband, completely horrified by the man sitting in front of her. This is not the Tyrone she knows and loves. This is a man who let someone get crushed and walked away. This is a man who is letting Summer take the fall for Theo's demise. The emotional stakes have never been higher. Fizz takes a deep breath, her eyes hardening, and strictly orders Tyrone to hand over his phone. She needs to see the video. She needs to see the proof of what really happened in that garage. Now, the ultimate question remains, hanging heavy in the air. What is Fizz going to do with this explosive information? Will she take that phone straight to the authorities, clearing Summer's name, but potentially sending her own husband away for a very long time? Will she force Tyrone to take accountability for his reckless actions? Or will her loyalty to her family override her moral compass? Will she delete the video, wipe the phone clean, and help her husband evade justice entirely? The Dobs family is standing on the edge of an absolute precipice, and one wrong move could send them both plunging into ruin. The implications of this secret are absolutely staggering when you really sit back and look at the bigger picture. If Fizz decides to cover up Tyrone's involvement in the garage incident, she becomes an active participant in a massive obstruction of justice. She would be tying her own fate to his, risking everything they have built together. Their beautiful family, their home, their entire life on the cobbles could be ripped away in an instant if the authorities ever uncover the truth. And let us not forget DS Lisa Connor Swain. She is a highly trained detective who is already incredibly suspicious of the timelines provided by the residents. She is meticulously combing through every single detail of that night. If she catches even a tiny inconsistency in Fizz and Tyrone's behaviour moving forward, she will not hesitate to tear their lives apart looking for the truth. Furthermore, we have to consider Carl's unpredictable nature. He is already having vivid flashes of memory. It is only a matter of time before the hazy images of that night sharpen into absolute clarity. When Carl finally remembers seeing Tyrone's face in the shadows right before the car came crashing down, he is not going to go to the authorities. That is not Carl's style. He is going to want personal, devastating payback. Tyrone will have painted a massive target on his own back, and by extension, on his family. The tension is incredibly suffocating, and viewers are going to be on the absolute edge of their seats, waiting to see how this extremely dangerous game of cat and mouse plays out. Meanwhile, the clock is rapidly ticking for Summer Spellman. Every second that Tyrone remains silent is another second that this innocent young woman spends trapped in a terrifying legal nightmare. Her mental health has already been pushed to the absolute limit. Being accused of taking someone's life is a trauma that leaves permanent scars. How will she ever forgive Tyrone if she finds out he could have saved her from this ordeal, but chose to protect himself instead? The betrayal would be absolutely devastating. It would completely shatter the trust within their community, turning friends into bitter enemies. And what about the actual mystery of Theo Silverton's demise? While Tyrone's massive secret explains his bizarre behaviour and clears up one small piece of the puzzle, the central question still remains completely unanswered. Who was the one that actually confronted Theo in that flat? If Summer left him alive and Tyrone saw her leave, then the responsible party must have slipped into the flat shortly after. Was it Todd, finally taking his life back after months of psychological torment? Was it Danielle, exacting a cold and calculated revenge on the man who ruined her? Was it George, protecting his loved ones by any means necessary? Or perhaps Gary Windass, reverting to his old, dangerous habits to eliminate a threat? The brilliant writers of Coronation Street have masterfully woven these two massive storylines together, creating a tapestry of deceit, guilt, and desperation that is completely captivating. Tyrone's accidental involvement in Carl's severe injury has perfectly collided with the whodunit surrounding Theo, creating a scenario where every single character is trapped by their own secrets. It is a brilliant display of how one bad decision, one moment of panic, can spiral totally out of control and infect the lives of everyone around you. Fizz is now holding the weight of the world in the palm of her hand. That small electronic device contains the power to destroy her husband, vindicate a young girl, and completely alter the course of multiple lives in Weatherfield. You can see the agonizing conflict in her eyes. She loves Tyrone deeply. They have survived so many trials and tribulations together. But she also has a strong sense of right and wrong. She knows that keeping this secret is a heavy burden that will eventually corrode their marriage from the inside out. Guilt is a highly destructive force, and it is already taking a massive toll on Tyrone's mental state. We have to brace ourselves for some of the most intense, highly emotional episodes of the year. The performances from Alan Halsall and Jenny McAlpine are guaranteed to be absolutely phenomenal as they navigate this terrifying crossroad. Will love conquer truth, or will the truth shatter their love? The drama is peaking, the stakes are life-altering, and no one on the street will ever be the same once the dust finally settles. This storyline is moving at lightning speed, and you absolutely do not want to miss what happens next. If you loved this deep dive into the absolute chaos unfolding on the cobbles, please make sure to smash that like button. Leave a comment down below with your theories on who actually ended Theo and what Fizz will do with that phone. And of course, hit subscribe to CoronationST update. Turn on your notifications so you are always the first to get the hottest tea and the most shocking updates. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video for more explosive Coronation Street drama.